Greetings and welcome to Keystone. Today we will be reviewing the final match of the November 2v2 Eternal Tournament, best of 5, no deck building limitations. Let us find out just who the champions are going to be. On the left we have teams Sevnir and Skyless, on the right KillWithFire and NovaInsanity. We are currently in the deck selection phase. Let us see what the contestants will come up with. And it seems that for Skyless we have Protoss hybrid deck, for Sevnir Confederates, Nova Confederates, KillWithFire Confederates. Well, it does seem like Confederacy is somewhat prolific, at least in this particular match. A great starting hand from NovaInsanity. Council Corruption is the card that you really want to aim for when playing Confederates. KillWithFire, also a Council Corruption on the first draw. And Jimmy the Rebel for Sevnir. He does not really have a ramp just yet in order to bounce him up, but perhaps the supply depot will help alleviate that. Void Rift for Skyless, a great early play that you also really want to keep whenever you only see it playing Protoss hybrid. Viridescent Archons, great follow-up. After the Void Rift, you can stack that gas and then release the Viridescent Archons for a ton of value. Let's see how things pan out. NovaInsanity already going for the Council Corruption with two very good targets, Mass Conscription and Drop Pod Blitz, which he can then even Psi Emit for bonus value along with Stim Pack maybe in the later game. But then again, the next turn he can follow up instantly with either of these cards. And the great play for Sevnir, it does seem like he had some ramp from that earlier supply depot. And he chugged up, I can tell this is about 100 Marines. What do we have here? An Ascended Tal'Darim Emissary, fighting against those fire bats, which will disappear in an instant when Sevnir launches those Marines. No Stim Pack yet. Supply depot for Nova, he is perhaps looking for some AoE. But no discounted Conscription and Drop Pod Blitz yet. He can try to double discounted with Council Corruption and then Stim and Imperial Witness it to oblivion. KillWithFire also going for Colonial Conscripts. He must either play those 22nd divisions or they will just get absorbed by the conscripts. Let's see what does he choose to do. Imperial Witness, Psi Emitter, and indeed 22nd Division. Or not? 3, 2, 1. And it is the 22nd Division with Stim. Yeah, there was some fire bats landing, but they didn't really live to tell the tale. Hard push from Skyless and Sevnir, Pierce the Veil and Void Rift.
Empower me, minion.
Along with the Chain of Ascension, it seems that we might have a strong setup for follow-up Archons, and there's even Amon. Looks like there's a base race though. A Drop Pod Blitz from KillWithFire. And the Keystone on the left is losing HP faster than the Keystone on the right. However, that Alarak will undoubtedly quickly dispose of those Marines. Sevnir is also launching a rushed Arclight support along with turrets to help in the base race. Let's see. Fast, down. And yeah, Alarak tanking and disposing of those Marines. GG. Game number 1 goes to Sevnir and Skyless. Deck selection again. Looks like Sevnir and Skyless are going for not necessarily the same. Sevnir goes for anti-Confederate deck. Let's see how does that actually look like. Tournament Greed, Tournament Save, UED Tony. Numbing at your chamber door. These are some nice deck names from Kill with Fire. Okay, game number 2. Confederates for Nova, Confederates for Kill with Fire with Cancel Corruption. I Radiate. I wonder if this is the same deck. Haven't seen that before, but it's a good thing to have while potentially facing Confederates in a Confederate heavy meta. Very bad start. Well, he does have Irradiation to counter both the Confederates, and we do not seem to be seeing any super early plays. Cancel Corruption potentially into 22nd Division and Resocialization. Void Rift for Skyless, another good opening. This is something you always want to keep when playing Protoss Hybrid. Drawing cards for Nova. This might just be a nice Tax Colonies, Council Corruption, Side Emitter combo next turn. Let's see if he will go for it. Corruption. Just Corruption. Oh. Potentially it would have been better to play it with Side Emitter and Tax Colonies. Kill with Fire. That must have been the Resocialization. Skyless, Ascended, Tal'Darim Emissary. And a lot of cards on hand for Sevnir. Science Herds, yeah. These Science Vessels are potentially going to be doing some damage versus any Marines that we are bound to see sooner than later. Mobile Machines. Ascending Votiaries. Science Vessels for Nova. Yeah, it seems that Science is going to be hurting something this game. Oh, maybe not necessarily for these vessels on Nova, because Cyclones for Sevnir are making short work of them at the moment. So I Radiate for Kill with Fire on those Votiaries. What's gonna Sevnir do with this full hand? Warpad and Chain of Ascension for Skyless. Stim and Mass Conscription for Nova. Oh, that's a hurtful Irradiate. Looks like Sevnir played the little one. And also some additional hurtful science from the vessels to Irradiate scheme on Sevnir. So, all those Confederate Marines are going to potentially feel the hurt. Some stacked up defenses, but for now we have some skirmishes in the middle with Nova and Kill with Fire pushing over the border. 22nd reinforcements for Kill with Fire. Resocialization and getting rid of Riot for Nova, and Russian Mineral Scavengers, Protoss Relic. But that does seem like overdraw. Yep, full hand. Let's see what Sevnir will burn the next turn. Hybrid Dominator already on Skyless's hand. He very much will have the gas next turn to play it with Void Rift that has already been in use. Yes, that might indeed be a good time for Irradiation. Irradiation or Irradiation? Well, we all know what this is. Green clouds of not so very friendly gas. Well, there has been some... was that a double drop pod blitz? We have another drop pod blitz and another drop pod blitz. Hybrid Dominator played by Skyless. And stealing Marines is not the only thing that that little thing does that is hurtful, because he's going to be pounding some storms and tanking a lot of damage, potentially even going for some shockwaves if he manages to get close enough. Entrench and Swan for for Sevnir, and this is a double drop pod blitz that we are seeing yet again. But yeah, these Marines are just melting away, both to the Adept and to the Hybrid Dominator. Indoctrinated Lurkers. Yeah, so this is something that's really, really good against Confederates. Unfortunately, if they do not manage to wipe those Marines in time, Lurkers are going to potentially just burrow behind the Keystone, which is not really something you'd like to see. Ideally, somewhere in the defense line. But it does seem like those Marines are going to get wiped out. Another huge Marine wave for Kill with Fire. Riots starting to pile up on Nova's hand. There's going to be 4 cards drawn and potentially a card burned. No, it looks like Nova spotted the potential burn. Irradiate, Riot, and Supply Depot. Side injection, this is something nice, protecting the Marines and Firebats from those hybrid storms. So definitely a worthwhile play. And air support from Sevnir. This is something unusual, but very good for an anti-Confederate deck. Hyperion is going to tank and tank and tank all those 0-1 damage Marine shots. And potentially pull out any Marines that are already pounding at your Keystone over to the enemy side, giving you some time, and you get 2 Hero Scouts as a bonus. Now, we have an Amon played from Skyless, which is going to be somewhat of an issue, because earlier in the patches, Amon did not really have AoE damage as he has now, and actually swarming him with Marines was one of the valid ways to counter Amon. Not anymore though, especially while he seems to be ascended. Not yet to fully ascendance, which would give him 3 shield armor, but at this point doesn't even matter though, because it doesn't seem like either of the Confederates is packing any hard removals, any Yamatos, definitely not any Behemoths. And what exactly are they going to do? Well, they could potentially go for some turrets if they are playing any, but I have not seen them in their decks before. So yeah, Kill with Fire and Nova are in a pinch, and that Amon is already knocking on their Keystone door. More Marines and more science, hurtful science. I believe there's this saying that if brute force doesn't work, you're just not using enough brute force, and certainly those Marines have heard something along these lines, because if Marines don't work, just send more Marines. But is this going to be enough Marines? No, very much no. Amon is barely touched, storms all over the place. And GG from Team Kill with Fire and NovaInsanity. So it looks like it's 2-0 in this best of 5. What are Nova and Kill with Fire going to do with this one? Because if they do not change the strategy, they're gonna be in troubles, and etc. such. And we see UED for Nova. UED for Kill with Fire with a very early game, good early game card, Backwater Station. It's not something you really see much of these days. Dormant Sentinels for Skyless, Supply Depot for Sevnir. It does seem they're playing the same thing, which is anti-Confederate and hybrids. Well, not much Confederates to counter in this particular game. Let's see how this pans out. Mid mines for Sevnir. Chrono sentries for Skyless. Ramping is always something that you want to go for at the very beginning, if you can, or at the very late game, if you can, for the draw and some extra minerals. Not so good in mid. Project Black Flag, so we might be seeing some additional energy units, potentially. Well, we're bound to see some raids. We have science vessels, but are there going to be any of those early medics that are very, very nice to stack up with for Project Black Flag? Mobile Combat Lab, Rory Swan, vessels. Well, not so very much going on so far. Metal, not much contested. Science vessels spotting all those mines and pew-pewing raids, taking their sweet time to actually remove the mines with 25 HP each. Interference Matrix with Recon Squad. Interference Matrix most likely just to free up space on hand. Supply Depot for Nova. Tassadar Disciples for Skyless. Void Rift. So we are going to have some hybrids and Amons enabled already. Yeah, feedbacks from the Disciples on the four vessels. Feedbacked and interfered. Playbrood and Rory for Kill with Fire. And some UED stacking from NovaInsanity. These are going to be 2 extra heroic Goliaths from that Atlas wing along with the normal Goliath. These dominant psychics have already been fairly stacked with 2 raids and a Goliath. Yeah, a little bit of a misplay from Sevnir. These are not the best turrets, but he seems to already recognize that. Irradiate from Sevnir, not all that much to irradiate except for Rory, which, well, I'm not sure if a single irradiate actually kills a heroic marauder or not, because we will see, but maybe he'll just killed by normal units then. It does seem like Sevnir and Skyless are pushing the enemy Keystone, but there's not really all that much that can deal the damage. We do see Aldaris for now. Well, that might actually turn out quite well, but there's gonna be some rushes and Hydra for the heroic Archon. Yeah, shock troops and fairly stacked shock troops on top of that, so it does seem like Kill with Fire and NovaInsanity are going to be A-OK, at least for now. Fearless Raiders, also something you don't really see that often. I guess it's mostly for the repair station, so you can have the SCVs that bring back your tactical units online. And this is quite a big push from the UED. We got tanks, we got hero Goliaths, we got normal Goliaths, we have Hydras from the slave broods, and the science vessel for some good measure. Entrench on the defensive side for Skyless and Sevnir. Warpins and Archons for Skyless. And some push from UED. And I don't see really all that many good counters to that mech. Colossus getting obliterated. Archons are always good, but they don't really deal extra damage versus mechs. And the splash also gets reduced by the fact that, well, those Goliaths and tanks are bigger than your average Marine. Amon from Skyless. But keep in mind that Amon is still considered an armored unit, so he is going to take quite a bit of a pounding from all those Goliaths and raids. Interference scheme that will help, but will it be enough? There's not really all that much in terms of anti-mech damage, aside from that poor lone siege tank that is getting face to face with the Ultralisk from Nova. Yep, an additional Charon Goliath pounding at Amon. Pew pew! Alexander already waiting to be launched with a decent amount of Marines. I don't see how much, but I think there was 10-ish. 2 raids and potentially 2 additional Goliaths. Yeah, it does seem like Sevnir and Skyless are in a bunch of troubles. Yeah, the Irradiate scheme is going to take care of the bio, but this does seem like NovaInsanity and KillWithFire are getting a win. Yeah, this does not look good. A fair observation, Rory and genetic trainees aren't gonna save the day over here. Neither is Phoenix. Well, Dominator surely helps, but what are those poor Zerglings gonna do versus that UED onslaught? Not much. Will there even be a next turn at this point? I don't think so. Oh, yeah. Clutch. But this is just a formality at this point. So the first win for Team KillWithFire and NovaInsanity. GG, well played. 2-1. What is going to be happening right now? Will Sevnir and Skyless adjust their strategy? Will perhaps KillWithFire and Nova go back to Comfort? Infested. We have Infested for Skyless, potentially, and Protoss for Sevnir. Now, the question is, what kind of Protoss is this going to be? UED for KillWithFire with Backwater Station yet again. Some very nice potential stacking for Nova. Chrono Sentries for Sevnir. Here's the Veil. I believe this is pre-rework, or is it after rework? I'm not entirely sure. Very early Kerrigan for Skyless. We have a Dehaka, Brute Queens, Rolling Hunters. That doesn't really seem like much of a infested staples. Creeping Queens, yeah, that does help speed the infested up. But we are having some early aggression from the UED side. 3 Goliaths and a Wraith. Kerrigan should be able to mop this up. Well, she won't be able to do all that much versus the Wraith, but then again, Wraith isn't going to do all that much versus Kerrigan either, even if undetected. What do we have here? Kronos Wing and Atlas Scout for Nova. Atlas Wing for KillWithFire. Well, not yet able to be played. Yep, supply drop to get more value out of the Atlas Wing. And Void Rift already on the hand of Sevnir. So this is going to be a Dominator deck, potentially with Amon. Perhaps a variant of something that Skyless was playing earlier. Already Viridescent Archons as well, so some sweet value coming in along the way for Team Sevnir and Skyless. Let's see how much will they be able to stack them up. And we do see an Infestation Pit already on Skyless, but no Infested so far on the horizon. Rolling Hunters to get rid of the defenses and potentially also the barracks. Dominion Heavies for Nova. And time to stack some rates up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 extra rates, so this is some good value play. Double Viridescent Archons, so this is potentially going to be a big wing and a potential also for an early aim-on. Pierce the Veil is guaranteed to grab him. And already after Void Rift hasn't played, you don't really need to worry about resources. It's just a matter of when. An extra crystallized energy will also help buff Amon up quickly. And the Murderous Ascendance on top of that. So the potential for playing the Amon with +3 shield energy and juicy extra HP. I don't see any Vortex coming from Terrans anytime soon. So what's gonna KillWithFire and Nova do? Potentially stacking even more with the wings, Dominion heavies and Hive experts. Push coming into the side of Terrans. And we are seeing the first infested going to be dropped on the field, potentially followed up with the pit that Skyless already has on hand. But it doesn't seem it's going to be all that easy yet. We have a nice D-push from UED, so this is not really going to be able to kill Keystone anytime soon. But 12 Archons from Sevnir, this is a big one. So every Archon has got 360 HP, that's 7,200 drop from Sevnir. While Archons certainly are not the best versus mech, it is still a lot of damage and body that the UED will have to try to deal with. And we also have the infested pushing along with the pit. So another thing that UED on the other hand is not so great versus. The big question is, does KillWithFire and Nova have any structure removals? Because if they do not get rid of that pit, they are up for a ton of trouble. You can potentially also have the Commandeer, which is a UED card, but you don't really see that in UED decks simply because you don't want to pollute your draw pool with the extra battle cruisers, and it's not really worth the 2 standard Marines on Alexander. So Behemoth cannons may be hiding somewhere over there, but certainly not on the hand. So Dominator for Sevnir, Alexander for Skyless, and as much as UED is not really in immediate trouble for KillWithFire and Nova, the horizons don't really look all that well because there's still the pit, there's the Dominator, an ominous egg on Skyless's hand. So the question is, what does he hold in store to actually get out on the field with that egg? Can be a hybrid Behemoth or potentially an Amon. Feedback, and I see a lot of vessels that are going to be feeling the hurt just about now. But is this really necessary? He could potentially just rush Amon with Ascendance at this point, but no need to be greedy, I guess. That is a lot of Goliaths stacked. Also the Karen Goliaths pounding the Alexander. Yep, no more Alexander. And it does seem like Sevnir is going to play the Rush fully Ascended Amon. Yeah, these things hurt. It will definitely hurt a lot. While Amon will not really be sniping any buildings, doesn't seem like Team KillWithFire and Nova have any tools to deal with both Amon and the uncontested pit. I mean, even if they manage to churn out a big Goliath wave, which is not really gonna happen, looking at the hands, they still would need to deal with infested, and it seems that it did not survive the "do you have building removals" check from Team Sevnir and Skyless. GG has already been called earlier. These are just some honorable attempts to not go down without a fight. And congratulations to Team Sevnir and Skyless, 3-1. And we have our winners. We have our first place, Sevnir Skyless, second place, KillWithFire and NovaInsanity. Congratulations to all the players. And we will be seeing you the next tournament on 17th. No, not that was 17th of December. See you guys next time. Whoop, 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 whoop.